folded flag and a hero song. But when the parade ends, you're just hanging on. I gave my all for freedom's call, but freedom doesn't catch my fall. The bills stack high, the pain runs deep. A restless night, no peaceful sleep. I paid the price for liberty.
Hi, welcome to Women's Radio 2. I'm Pat Barrett, and we have a wonderful, wonderful, and special guest for you today, Mike Williams. Mike was an Army combat medic. So he has a really deep background in really caring about people's health and how to help people. Besides that, he has a very long background in IT. So he has a technical background too. But what is really amazing is that he is a lifelong composer, and he has hundreds of songs at this point that he has composed. One that he did out of the goodness of his heart for a cause that he really believes in, that he'll tell you a little more about in just a moment, is called
The price we paid.
Thank
You're
You, Dear.
testing me on this one. I know it.
Okay. One more time. I've never done this. Okay. Hi, welcome to Women's Radio 2. This is Pat Barrett. My guest today is Mike Williams. I'm so happy that you're here, and hopefully you'll bring your friends back because Mike was an Army combat veteran. And then he was also spent a long time in IT. But probably his best accomplishment is as a composer. He's a lifelong composer and has done hundreds of songs. Recently, or let's say in the last couple of years, he met up with someone that I had met, and that's how Mike and I met. Dr. Jeffrey Zimmerman, who has put together something called Harmonetics, and Mike will tell you about that in a minute also. But he'll also explain how this wonderful song that you heard the intro for just a moment ago came about. So, Mike, I'd like to welcome you to Women's Radio.
Pat, thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Well, let's go back a bit. I guess we could start in many different places, but since your work as a medic gave you this strong feeling of helping people, and then you met Dr. Zimmerman, what, a couple of years ago? Is that correct?
About 2.5 years ago. That's right.
So tell us a little bit about what Harmonetics does and why you feel strongly about that. And you've been working with him to create a big campaign for that and put that out.
Working with Dr. Zimmerman has been a gift, and the whole team is really comprised of veterans and people helping veterans. And reasonably, there is Western medicine that I have great respect for. I mean, that's why I was a combat medic. But on the other side, there's something outside of going to the doctor and getting an aspirin because you have a headache. And that's what this addresses within Eastern medicine. And it's been reinforced by modern science, where they've just discovered positive quarks and negative quarks over the last several years. And that is exactly what we're doing in a non-invasive manner. And in a nutshell, it's very simple. In practice, it can get very deep, but if you can breathe and move, it helps align yourself with your own body. And it's not something where I'm healing you, I'm helping you heal yourself.
I think that's the new direction, don't you?
It is, and I view it as a symphony where Western medicine has a profound necessity, but Eastern medicine is something that when I got back, and I'll give you just a quick snapshot. My background, I've been playing music since I was 7 years old, playing and writing music. Now, Pat, I'm not saying it's any good, all right, but I am very happy to be able to share a song with you and the people listening. But I went from that to trying to play professionally up in LA, starving with dudes that could play a lot better than me. I went back down and I was in my third year major in biophysics. It's when the first Gulf War broke out. My best friend since I was 6 years old, he was in a special operations unit and he was on standby to deploy. And it was just bothering me. I walked out of my physics lab, I went and I signed up, and I ended up deploying overseas for a couple of years, and his unit, it never mobilized. Now, that's not his fault, okay? But when I went in and I scored well on the testing, they said, you can pretty much do anything you want. I said, yeah, I want to be a combat medic. Because my thought was I would come out and then I would go to medical school and continue down that path. Well, I became a combat medic and I deployed overseas. And the reality is, after being in Haiti and Bosnia and all these other hostile fire zones, that I was just burned out on life and death. So it was imperative that when I got out, because yeah, I could have been a paramedic or I could have been an ER technician, but after 10 years of that, emotionally, I was just completely spent. So I thought I need to reinvent myself. And that's where I went into IT that I've been doing now for the last 25 years. From the time that I stepped out of the military, you're just trying to get yourself right. It's like you're unsettled. And I had a Vietnam veteran explain this to me. Just casually, he met me and I was just going through a place where I was doing with some stress. And he told me, he said, I did 2 tours in Vietnam, this veteran, and he said, you got demons. He said, you got to make friends with them or they're going to kill you.
Mhm.
And that's something that from the time that I
Stuck
left
with
the
you.
military. What's that?
That stuck with you, I bet.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it was
Mm.
pure honesty that he didn't need to give me. And so
Right.
I've been looking for ways to be able to get myself right. Okay. Because I can work, but there's some times where you might be a little too stressed and things like that. And a couple of years back, I met Dr. Jeffrey Zimmerman, Oriental medical doctor. He's also a licensed acupuncturist, along with some other accolades. And he's the most down-to-earth guy. And he said, hey, forget about all this other stuff. Just breathe and move with me and we'll figure this out. And the first time I saw this, I was so skeptical. I'm like, what is this thing? That's because I was so ingrained in Western medicine, being a medic. And it really works. And it works for me, and it's free for veterans, and it's free for first responders and their families.
It's really a methodology. It's not invasive, it's not difficult, but it does allow you to breathe very deeply and to align your body correctly, which also helps your nervous system and all your organs and so forth and so on. Do I have that about right?
Well, you got it nailed, Pat. Yeah, it aligns you with your parasympathetic nervous system, which is a really fancy way of saying that's the part of our nervous system that we can't control, like digestion and breathing. Okay. And so it just brings you to a place where you can start healing yourself. And I've been
Yes.
embracing this discipline now for a couple of years, but through the process, I got to meet End Veteran Det and that community, and that's where we met.
That's exactly right. So we have similar interests in that. I'm very drawn to um, organizations that are doing big work, and certainly they are. And the guy that started it has been our guest, Jerry Ashton. And I think Jerry and Dr. Zimmerman have been friends for several years as well. So one thing has led to the next. And then in meeting Dr. Zimmerman, I met you. And then you surprised us by with this wonderful music. And I said, you got to come share this with other people. So they've had a taste of it, but we're also going to have a full version that a listen link so they can hear the full version. And I know that it's going to grow and grow and grow. It's just a wonderful, wonderful song. And And it came about because of, to some degree or another, not only because of all the people that you saw and you have seen since then, veterans that have not gotten help, have are in despair, and from all the awful statistics of suicide and alcoholism and a lot of other things, just for people trying to cope with stress and sometimes just can't.
You know,
So,
you're right. And I have two things I pulled from documentation. It is in a 2022 published study on data that was done in 2020 by the Department of Veterans Affairs. They estimated that about 17 veterans commit suicide every day. And they did a follow-on study on that in 2022. This was a University of Alabama, along with Duke University, supported by a foundation behind that. And they found that no, the number was actually closer to 44 veterans a day
oh my goodness.
wasting themselves because they don't have the support and the help they need.
Right, right. And a lot of that has to do with accumulating debt. And there are all kinds of ways this happens, particularly for veterans. I mean, coming back, not having a good transition, really not a lot of help to make that transition, having stress and PTSD often, et cetera, et cetera. It's just a lot to deal with all at one time and makes it very hard to say, oh, just close that door and open this door. It's just that easy, but it's not that easy.
Well, and this is with end veteran debt. It's genius. What they're doing for $50,000, they can forgive 100,000. I believe actually it's $1 million. For $50,000, they can
Right.
forgive $1 million of veteran debt. And I point this back to a gentleman that I met through this common connection. His name is Michael Thorne. He's also a combat medic, and he served from 2000 to about 2008. So he was in Iraq. He was exposed to the burn pits, and the burn pits are insidious to the point where it will slowly destroy your lungs.
Yes.
So he got back. Well, he was wounded
Too
in
bad.
battle, just about died twice, gets home and was medically discharged. And then he wanted to do something that was less stressful. So he became a firefighter and then a paramedic. And through the weakening of the lungs over time, he couldn't take a couple of steps without just about passing out. He was going back to the VA saying, hey, I don't know what's going on. I can't breathe. And unfortunately, one of the times that he was there, the VA, and we're all human beings, okay? So understand that I am not ripping on the VA when I say this, but there was a clerical error. And instead of sending him the bill that he needed to pay, they sent it to collections. And he didn't know about it until it was just unpayable for him. He lost his house, he lost his cars. He was just trying to live to take care of his wife and his two kids. And to this day, he is still fighting now, working with end veteran debt. They were able to give him some backup. But this is one single story of
Right.
many.
Right. Of many, many, many. You're so right. I
Right.
don't think that people that haven't had this experience or know someone who's had this experience can really grasp how big the problem is. But it is huge. And Jerry Ashton, who heads up in veteran debt, has already made a huge mark in this country by ending a great deal of medical debt for other just general citizens. And they took away $5.5 billion in medical debt, which saved hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah.
And now he said, well, we haven't really done what we should have done for our veterans. And one of the things that's killing them now is the debt. So now he probably is an expert above everyone else in how to get this done and has a big vision and is creating a much bigger wave. So I hope everybody's going to enjoy the music because we're going to put it down below so you can listen to it. But also I wanted you to share a little bit more about, you were talking about Michael Thorne and how that played into the piece that you wrote, how that inspired that piece of music. I'm sure it wasn't just him, but certainly it was him. He is very inspirational.
He is a person, just looking at what he'd been through. I was able to just sit down, and the way I write my music, it's how I emotionally unpack things. It's also a way that I can celebrate these things that are happening around us that really need to be noticed. And that's where the
Right.
song comes from. I get to thank End Veteran Debt, and I have nothing but respect for Michael Thorne. I know we're getting pretty close on time, but I really do look forward to you sharing the music with everybody too.
I can't wait. And so they'll hear it as they did hear it coming in, and they'll hear it going out, and then they will have an opportunity to click on the full version in a listen only mode and hear it as often as they like. So that will be great. And when this actually is produced so that it could be sold, I think that you're planning on providing a portion of that to End Veteran Debt. So they'll have
20% of
ongoing
the proceeds are going to go back to End Veteran Debt.
Very, very good. I think that certainly you should be appointed as a great cause, and so should Dr. Zimmerman, for all the wonderful things you're doing, helping people realign their nervous system, so to speak, so that things can get back to normal. And then all the other work that End Veterans Debt is doing to give people back the veterans back their lives. Thank you so much for the service that you gave and for the service that you're giving now, Mike.
Pat, thank you so much for letting me share this with you and the people listening. Have a wonderful
It's our
day.
pleasure. Thank you.
Okay.
For a folded flag and a hero song.